So I know one thing that you're quite keen to see brands do next year is sort of change up the styles of content and the way they're thinking about content on social. So I wanted to kind of understand your perspective on that a little more.
Yeah, so it's for me, it's more around like length of content
Yeah.
and how the channels we're producing content for. And I think it sort of stems back to, we live in a world which has best practice.
Yeah.
We live in a world which is driven by, 3-second views, catch their attention, all this kind of stuff. And if you look back over the last 7-10 years, that sort of idea and thought around content was very much adopted by the introduction of mobile and mobile viewing of content. And it was, at that time, it was small screens, so it was short, sharp, snappy content that you could just absorb on the move or whatever wherever you were, basically, and it just sort of fit into your life.
I also think that comes into play with internet speeds as well.
Yeah,
Like before,
massively.
we're talking like pre 4G, which actually isn't that long ago.
Yeah.
You actually didn't have the power to be able to watch longer form on a mobile. It had to be like a couple seconds.
Huge and massive impact of that. So we've sort of gone on this journey where there's so many different things which are sort of affecting how we absorb content. One of the big things I think is really interesting is, the adoption of watching things like Netflix, Prime, Apple TV, whatever it is, and streaming services on your mobile. So where you think we've gone from, brand content, 3 seconds, like say, whatever it has to be, short, snappy to get your message across, because that was how people were using those devices. People are now sitting on their commute watching hour-long documentaries. And even if you look at that kind of content, a documentary 5 years ago was an hour and 20 minutes. Now it's 12 hours across 12 episodes. Yeah. And so naturally and behaviorally, we're completely changing how we absorb content. Therefore, I think there's an opportunity for brands to play into that, because as humans, we become so much more available to absorbing content from brands and different forms. The baseline, though, still has to be the creative, the storytelling, what the message is. But I think if you can get that right, and where brands can start thinking, okay, we're not restricted now by, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever it is. Even TikTok, notoriously, a quick platform, evolved, I presume, if I remember correctly, when Vine was 15 seconds. 15, even now they're going, we're playing around with longer form video, which can be up to this length. We're doing live content. So even those platforms which were built on short, snappy content are going, well, actually, we can make longer stuff.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a very much of the opinion and the idea that really, if brands can find the right story and have something to say, it doesn't have to be restricted by time. It's about the creativity, the narrative. It can be episodic. It could be one long episode. But there's very much an opportunity now for brands to start playing in an area which is, actually, I just want to tell a really good story. And I'm not going to be restricted by what the platform says, because I know that my audience will watch it if it's good.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you were saying there about sort of us going from 3 seconds, really heavily branded, like editorial style stuff, I think consumers' perspectives have gone from brands annoying me in my feed to brands entertaining me in my feed as an actual possibility. And brands can. We've seen some really, really good brands that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be taking part in it really delve into TikTok and do a really good job of entertaining their customers, which in turn increases more positive sentiment and conversions. But the core thing is that they have to let loose on the reins a little bit.
Absolutely.
I am sick of battling with clients and them saying, okay, but why doesn't this have our font on it? Because your font's not available on TikTok, and I'm not putting your font on TikTok, even if it's an ad.
I think, but this is where I think it plays into, Christmas ads. Even this year, you look at them. If you watch the full ads, they're 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and then they've got cut downs of it. That's still retention time. There's an expectation with Christmas ads, fine, but they're stories, and people put that effort into telling the story and the message. Really, the opportunity again is there to think of your brand, and I'm sure it won't work for every brand, But there are different ways of looking at it, from, you know, whether you're home decor and you're looking at it from what traditionally would have been like a 30-second makeover to actually, I'm going to give you a tutorial. And it's going to be 15 minutes, but I'm going to take you through this journey of how this is done, to, you know, real sort of style documentary film content that is just great to watch. And that for me is a very exciting, very interesting space where, if brands can get it right, find that creativity and have the confidence to understand that behaviors are changing outside of just the platform and what the platform says, you'll be able to start seeing a real difference in how your consumers see you and how much you can actually give them from a creative and content perspective.
For sure. I think one thing we can really learn about it is that not everyone consumes in the same way. And so if you have a longer piece of content, treat organic social, and you can do this on paid with sequential remarketing anyway, but treat organic social as a funnel.
Yeah.
And so introduce that piece of content and show the before and the after for those that maybe just want to see a quick flick.
Yeah.
Put that out first as your teaser, and then link below it to the tutorial in the comment section.
Yes.
And that's how you're going to actually be able to tell a correct narrative. But think about how people need to be educated and warmed up to be able to watch something. So it's just tailoring things and being really clever. I do think, as a whole, marketers have got a little bit lazy on social in particular. And so just being more clever in different ways is going to be the key to success on social.
Absolutely.